So good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Preccelerator U. These are our series of workshops that we do for the Preccelerator program. And it's my pleasure to welcome you all today to our workshop. There's not a huge number of us today, which is actually going to work to our advantage. Typically, when I present this, I do it in person, and as we all do. And networking is a natural thing that we do in person. So it becomes a little bit strange as we do this in the COVID era. First of all, can everybody see my screen that I've shared? And is it the full screen, or are you seeing my notes? Full screen. Okay, good. Go ahead and unmute yourselves, because we're going to go through an exercise where we get to introduce one another. Typically, what I would do is break you up into pairs and have you have a little conversation and then have the other person introduce the person that they were speaking with. But since we're doing this virtually, we're going to do it a little different, and we're going to start today. Just do a quick introduction of who you are, the company you're with, and tell one fact that we won't find on your LinkedIn profile. Okay, so I think there's probably about 15 or so of us on the call. So I'm going to scroll through and I'm just going to call you out. That way we don't talk over one another. So we'll start with Philippe.
Hello, everyone. I'm Felipe Makritis. I'm the founder of Festivote, and this is Anne-Marie, my co-founder and COO of Festivote. And we've launched a platform that enables audience voting, attendee engagement through gamification, and data analytics for film festivals worldwide. And we launched recently, and we had the
last week.
We had the luck of or the privilege of actually entering into 3 markets: the U.S., the Canadian, and the Mexican market.
All right. So tell us
something. You all.
Tell us something we're not going to find on your LinkedIn.
I've been involved ever since my childhood with a family business in Brazil. It's a nonprofit for the elderly. I'm originally from Brazil, and so right now we're in the midst of a huge restructuring and adding telemedicine components and all these exciting revamping that we're doing. So that's very dear to my heart and very dear to our family. It's been 130 years that we've been running it. So yeah. That's not on my LinkedIn.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Anne-Marie, do you want to do a quick intro and then we'll move on?
Oh gosh. Yes. I'm Anne-Marie Makritis, co-founder, what he said. I keep this bad boy afloat, not only the COO, but the CFO, the CMO, the sales marketing. I've had the most fun that I think I've ever had in my life doing this. And that's a lot, being in Los Angeles and acting. And I was on set yesterday, which was quite cool, but I couldn't wait to get back to my business because it was something that I had more control over.
Excellent. Well, welcome to both of you. Okay, so let's follow the rules. Your name, the company you have. Don't go into a lot of detail because we have to get through everybody and do this in a timely fashion. And then something that we don't know about you if we looked at your LinkedIn. So Nick Blake, you're up next.
Hey guys. My name's Nick Blake. My company is Mr. Kite Entertainment Corp. Something that you will not find out about me on my LinkedIn is I have tried several times in my life to join a monastery. And in my mid-20s, the longest monastery stay I had was with some Benedictine brothers, the Western Priory in Western Vermont. And they taught me during my stay there, they taught me a meditation technique where you listen with the ear of your heart and you meditate on that for hours. And it was very transformative for me. And it's a technique that I think everybody should, it would be very transformative for others too, if you practiced it.
Great, thanks, Nick. Eric Rose.
Hi, I'm Eric Rose. I'm the president of Pinnacle Product Innovation. At Pinnacle, we move new products from opportunity to market reality. We offer market research, product development, manufacturing sourcing, IP commercialization, and recently we've been doing product design, expert witness work, product liability litigation, and IP litigation. And the one thing not on my LinkedIn page, I've been playing in the Culver City Drum Circle. We play the last Saturday of every month, now on Zoom this Saturday. You can find us on Facebook or Meetup, Culver City Drum Circle. Join us at noon.
Complete with props. Very good. And I'll just
Awesome.
mention that Eric is one of our mentors for the Preccelerator program, and we appreciate you very much. Okay, I'll reiterate your name, your company, not a long tagline, and something that we're not going to find in your LinkedIn profile. So Sean Dawes, you're up next.
Yeah, hi. My name is Sean Dawes with Indie Scene. We are creating a theatrical aggregation platform that solves indie film distribution. And what's not on my LinkedIn profile is that we actually applied to the Preccelerator program and were turned down. Not even an interview.
Those things happen. All right. Let's see, Jeff Hall.
Hey there, Len. Hello, everybody. My name is Jeff Hall. I'm an old newspaper guy going way back. Used to work at the LA Times. In recent years, I've been working on a news aggregator called The Latest, or thelatest.com. And the thing that people like about it is that we are politically neutral and we show all sides, and we're breaking off a news site called Our National Conversation. And we hope to launch in January. The thing that you might not find in my LinkedIn profile is that despite the fact I went to Harvard Business School, I'm probably the brokest person you know, but I still intend to change that in the time remaining.
Nice to have you, Jeff.
Good to see you, Len.
John, Igudusi. I can never say your name right, John.
You'll get it at some point. Hey everyone, I'm John Ikudaisi, CEO and co-founder of XB Health. We help patients prepare for and recover from orthopedic surgery, and we've recently released a new app to help physical therapy patients connect to a physical therapist as well. And I would say the fact that's not on my LinkedIn profile at the moment is that I'm an adrenaline junkie. So maybe that's why I'm an entrepreneur. Who knows? You know, the risk taking. But on my bucket list is skydiving. So if anyone has any recommendations, I'd love to hear it.
Thanks, John. Jason Vigo.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jason. I'm the COO of Bev's, a technology platform built for local independent convenience stores, right now focused on delivery operations. And something you won't find on my LinkedIn was last summer in LA, I was the face of the advertisement for the LA County Fair, a picture they found 8 years ago when I went to the county fair and did not explicitly give permission for, but my face was on all the banners throughout LA, which was a weird thing to see 8 years later.
And Jason is with Bev's, and they are a Preccelerator company. They're our newest Preccelerator company. Happy to have you here. Craig, I don't have your last name, but you're up.
Hi, Len. My name is Craig Lynn. My company is called Move-In Day, and we essentially streamline and simplify the move-in process for both apartment managers and their new residents. And a fact that's not on my LinkedIn profile is that my family is from Jamaica, but I was born here in the US.
Super. Welcome. Daniel Dow.
Hi, everyone. My name is Daniel Dow. I'm a founder of Oasis Vehicle Refreshments. We develop an IoT refreshment systems that's adaptable in vehicles. And what you won't find in our LinkedIn page is that our system we found to be so modular and adaptable that we're looking into placing them in like hotels and motels, as well as in other areas like airports during the COVID, where it's contact free, and we have special mechanisms to provide people with refreshments that they can, it helps to radiate the virus and bacteria from the product itself.
Welcome. Sean without a last name. Sean, are you there? All right. I'm going to go to Bennett. Bennett Heems.
Hey, everybody. Bennett Heems. I'm a co-founder, head of sales for a company called Blockforms. We're a member of the Preccelerator program. Thank you, Len, for having us today. Blockforms takes the work out of paperwork for form management for insurance brokers, specifically in the employee health and benefits space. And a fun fact that you're not going to see on LinkedIn unless they update this as I am actually on my honeymoon. I got married over the weekend, so I am expanding my professional career while sitting by a pool in Santa Barbara. So thanks for having us, Len.
Bennett, congratulations. How come I didn't know that? So
well, it's
Bennett,
not on LinkedIn. It's not on LinkedIn.
It was not on LinkedIn. So Bennett is also a part of our Preccelerator program, and they started there with us back in March. So good to have you here today. I think I covered everybody. Yeah, I think I got everybody. So welcome, everyone. We've done that job. My name's Len Lanzi. I'm the managing director of the Preccelerator program here at Stubbs Alton and Markleese. And a fun fact you won't find on my LinkedIn is that I'm a massage therapist, a licensed massage therapist, and I actually worked in a massage clinic, in a physical therapy clinic for 5 years. So that's something you won't find on my LinkedIn. So let's move on here. So what are we going to do today? We're going to talk about what's your natural network, what types of networking are available, and we'll talk a little bit specifically about the COVID age and what that means. We'll talk some best practices. One of my key resources for this workshop is materials put together by Keith FERRAZZI. And Keith is a well-known
FERRAZZI.
author, lecturer, and he does a great job of teaching people how to network. He's got a book called Never Eat Alone. If you haven't read it, you should read it. It's a great book. It's didactic, and we're going to go over a lot of the key points in the book today. And then we're going to talk about how can your network be used to raise capital. So what is networking for capital? What does that mean? And at this point, if you have would like to chime in, please unmute yourself. And I want this to be as interactive as possible since we don't have a huge number of folks to deal with today. So what comes to mind when I say networking for capital? What were you expecting to learn today?
Where are the VCs and what do they like and what are they looking for?
Okay. Anything else?
I'd say tapping into your immediate community and maybe expanding a little bit further to see if you can find common threads that can help propel your business.
Excellent. Anything else?
Also, I'd add basically learning strategies for relationship building as well.
Yep. Good, good. There's no secret to networking for capital to networking for anything. By the way, it's really picking targets and finding out where those people hang out and then networking with them in those venues. So we have lots of types of natural networks that we belong to. And as I meet with entrepreneurs and founders of companies and we're doing their capital mapping exercise, the things I look for and ask them about are, well, let's look at your alumni association. You probably, for the most part, went to a university, and within that university alumni network are people that may have capital or people that may lead you to capital. So understanding how to use your alumni association, or if you were in a sorority or fraternity, using that natural network of people that, you may have been in school with 50 years ago or 25 years ago or 10 years ago, but maybe they went on to do something you didn't know about and you find that out. Those are great natural networks. If you belong to some type of religious institution, you have people that you have common values with there, that you can meet and learn what they do. If you have children, the parents of the children, a good friend of mine who's now running LAVA, Darren Ang, his kids go to Brentwood School, and that network of parents at the Brentwood School is incredibly vast and knowledgeable and helpful. And Darren's been able to tap into that as a way to bring resources to the Los Angeles Venture Association. How about different business groups like LAVA, the Los Angeles Venture Association? Networking groups, there's Provisors, there's LaTip, there's all sorts of different networking groups that are out there. Craig, I believe you're involved in Toastmasters. And Toastmasters is a great way to learn what other people do and get to know them. Let's see, what else can I talk about? Hobby groups. If you're an enthusiast, a sports enthusiast, or if you like to knit, whatever that is, You know, those natural networking groups are great places for you to at least start talking about what you're doing and building your network so people can help you, because they can't help you if they don't know what you're doing. Service organizations like Rotary or Kiwanis or Optimist Clubs or Lions Clubs or the Fraternal Order of Eagles, the Elks, the Moose Lodge, and it goes on and on and on. Some of those are old dying networks, but some rejuvenation actually would be good for all of them. And so if there's some ways that you can get involved in service organizations, that's a great way to meet people. Nonprofits, volunteering, serving on boards. These are great places for you to increase the amount of people you're in touch with, the people that you work with, and they're going to be natural people to network with, so you can get that network effect, that viral effect of the people you're working with. What did I miss? Does anybody have any suggestions of things I may have missed?
That was a very comprehensive list.
Yeah. Thank you, Jeff.
You know, sometimes you just talk to people who are perfect strangers in grocery stores or on elevators or at an auto repair shop. You just never know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I do that all the time. My partner gets mad at me because I shouldn't be talking to strangers, but I do it all the time. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Any other suggestions?
I run a meetup group, and I found that there are an incredible number of affinity groups within meetups that you would never have imagined. And Meetup has been a great resource.
Yeah, if you go to the Meetup website and just look at the groups that are in they geolocate it. So the groups that in the town that you live in or work in, it's A to Z. You know, everything is there. So what are the capital networks? Where do we find capital? Where are people that are natural capital providers or investors? So we have our angel groups, and presumably everybody here is in Los Angeles. You know, we have the main angel groups like Pasadena Angels, Tech Coast Angels, Band of Angels, Harvard Business School Angels. Most alumni groups have angel groups, so or investment clubs. There's events galore that you can find either on Eventbrite or any of the event platforms, and look for events that there's a speaker that's talking about venture capital or about angel capital or about investing, or it's just broad-based for startups and founders. Those are great places where you can start meeting people, even virtually. And let's talk about, what does the virtual network look like? So I had the privilege of knowing who was going to be on the call today. So when I got that list, I went through that list and I started just plugging people's names into LinkedIn to see who was there. That's how I knew Craig was involved in Toastmasters. There are a lot of people signed up for this workshop today that are indie filmmakers involved in the independent filmmaking industry. It's about 6 people that signed up. And I don't know if that was a matter of how we got the message out, but that seems to be a commonality. We're also in Los Angeles, so I think everybody in Los Angeles is an independent filmmaker
Trying to make
at some
film
point in their life.
Yes.
What other places would we find capital networks that I haven't mentioned? There's one. Yeah, go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, I mean, there's like usually big conferences. I mean, outside of COVID, a lot of conferences that I've attended, whether it's blockchain or outside of that realm within technology, there's a lot of VCs and firms around there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, let's move on. So some best practices. This is a point that I'd like to just take a break. And does anybody have a story of how networking worked in your practice, where it brought some results, or if someone can describe that process to us? Does anybody have anything they'd like to share?
I could definitely shine a light on our experiences. So we're indie filmmakers, and I guess by when I first came up with the idea of Festivote, just going to the film festivals, talking to the festival directors, what do they want to see? What does the end B2B2C client want to see? You know, the end user, so to speak. How can we help the sponsors that give so much money, but they don't necessarily get a good return? So really, it's just been, it was a solid 2 to 3 years of just conversation and chatting on the festival circuit, and really understanding how I was going to get back, to LA and just put everything down and map it all out, with the help of our small team.
Excellent. Great example. Any other best practices? Anybody like to share?
I've been surprised, government connections, in this case, it was local. I've been working on an external fire suppression system for residential dwellings and trying to get out and doing customer discovery and product market fit. And sure enough, I got connected to somebody, I think who's a city official with Monrovia. And they said, oh, we've had all kinds of residential problems, people evacuating and so forth and so on. We'd love to have you come out and do some interviewing and get a deep understanding of who's out there and the firemen and maybe some insurance companies that might want to help fund your project. And I would have never imagined that city officials would be helpful.
There you go. Absolutely. Anybody else have a quick example of how networking expanded your ability to do business or brought benefit right back to you?
I can share my story, Len. So my company focuses on property managers. And so before COVID, I had just, hit the door, knocking on a lot of doors, talking to property managers, befriending them. But then once COVID hit, I realized obviously it would be difficult to reach out to them. So what I did was I knew a lot of great friendly property managers, and I started hosting monthly property manager meetups. And it's through this little meetup group that I've been able to meet more and more property managers in the LA space. And it's been a really great way to meet more and more people at all these various buildings in the LA community.
Excellent.
Yeah,
all right.
I have one to share too, Len, if it's all right.
Please. Yeah.
Sure. Well, the way I got my own service off the ground was I drove for Uber obsessively to get the money I needed to hire my developer team to build out the service. And what that turned out to be was a fantastic networking. I mean, I connected with so many people. I got sales leads. I got my product in front of thousands of people, and especially strangers, people who, it really, it opened up so many doors. And not to mention, I was able to self-fund my own, my own stuff. So yeah, but those ride sharing services are very, can be invaluable, both for bringing in revenue and for getting customer feedback and networking and stuff.
I'd say this is what you call a captive audience.
Exactly.
Yes, for sure.
Exactly.
You have half an hour to really talk to somebody and connect with them and stuff.
And they were stuck with you.
And they were stuck with me. Ha ha ha. That's right.
All right. Well, thank you for your sharings and your stories. Let's talk a little bit about the next portion here, Never Eat Alone by Keith FERRAZZI. So the dynamics of status are the same of whether you're working in a corporation or attending a society event, but you don't want to be invisible. So the lesson learned in that whole book is don't be invisible, be present. And I try not to eat alone, right? Invite somebody to lunch, invite somebody to coffee, use that time to build your natural network. And that brings us into when you're networking, it's about building relationships. So you need to build it before you need it. And I tell people when they're going out for capital, it's not a matter of going out and asking a bunch of angel investors or VC investors for money. It's bringing them along, building a relationship with them, giving them teasers, getting to know them. So when it's time to ask for that capital, you don't have to spend all that time on the minutia part of it. You can get right to the point. They already trust you. They already know you. And so you want to make that a sustained relationship, something that's going to make a difference in your life over your lifetime and career. Don't be a networking jerk. And what does that mean? All right. So I can work a room as good as anybody. I know how to do that. But I've done it with a way of purpose, not with a way of just seeing how many business cards I can collect. So the way I like to network, and I think this is one of Keith's points, is network with some generosity. Ask people how you can be of service to them. Don't ask them for anything first. Ask them, hey, how can I help you? Is there something I'm doing in my work or in my life that will add value to what you need? and then listen. And that's really a way of not being a jerk, because we know what those people look like. They're at the door greeting you and handing you a business card, and then they're on to the next person, and you have no connection. They're inauthentic. So you want to be authentic as you network. Don't keep score. It's not a matter of how many business cards you have. It's not about how much you do for somebody else and what you expect back from them. This is not a zero-sum game. It's you have to invest, and those investments will come back to you in time. But you have to practice that. It's something you have to do on a daily basis. Ping consistently. Keep in touch with your network. And this is probably one of the most difficult things to do, even with all the technology that we have today, whether it's texting or emailing or Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter or whatever medium we use. It's hard to keep track of everybody. But you got to keep track of those people that are going to make a difference, those priority prospects, those priority people in your life that can bring value back to you. I tell you, I have a hard time doing this, folks. This is not easy. I have over 5,000 contacts in my LinkedIn. And I will say, most of those people I've met and know. I don't accept a lot of blind requests into my network. So how do you keep track of 5,000 people? It's really hard. One of the things I like to do every once in a while is offer something, some thought leadership, offer an opportunity, or just reach out to people and say hi. Using those prompts, as tacky as it sounds, that say, hey, it's Eric Rose's birthday coming up. Wish him a happy birthday. Let him know you were thinking about him. Hey, it doesn't matter if LinkedIn prompted you or Facebook prompted you to let you know it was Eric's birthday. I can't remember everybody's birthday, but the simple act of just saying, hey, I'm thinking of you goes a long way. People remember that. So don't forget to keep pinging consistently.
Len, also congratulating on business promotions too.
That's correct. Yeah, business promotions. They joined a board. They got an investment. They had an exit. They had a baby. They got married like Bennett. Happy wedding, by the way, Bennett. I can't believe you're on this workshop and it's your honeymoon. But we'll get into that Friday when we're having another meeting on your honeymoon. I don't understand. But those are the things that we can do is reaching out. Create constant intimacy. I had a tough time when I first read this and as I presented, because intimacy as a word brings up connotations not necessarily conducive to networking, but intimacy in personal relationships, being authentic, being vulnerable, letting people know who you are. That is how you're going to create that friendship, that trust. It's not just about what your business card says or what you do at work. It's those passions that connect us. So that's how you create that business intimacy. Be audacious. And I love this. If you don't tell anybody what you need, nobody's ever going to know. So you have to be bold. You have to be audacious. You have to let people know what you want. And I'll tell you a quick story. I used to work for the Boy Scouts of America. I was an executive with them from 1987 to 2000, so 13 years. When I was first in that profession, they sent me away to what we called camp school, how to run a Boy Scout camp. And, I met some people, and I was in San Diego at the time. They sent me to this beautiful camp in Santa Barbara, California, up in the San Ynez Valley, Camp Rancho Alegre. And as I'm walking around that camp saying, someday I want to be the scout executive or the CEO of this local Boy Scout council. And I just got it in my head back in 1988 that that's what I wanted to do. And from that point on, every time anybody asked me what my career goals were, the first thing I led off with, I want to be scout executive in the Los Padres Council in Santa Barbara. That isn't how that works in that closed personnel system. There's interview processes, you got to get picked, but I kept on doing it and kept that as my focal point. I let everybody know it. 1997, that opportunity came up. I happened to be invited into the interview pool, and I got that job. And I ended up being the scout executive of that council. That was because of audacity and tenaciousness and just sticking with a vision and writing it down and knowing that's where I wanted to go. And those are all things that are really important in life, is having that goal, writing it down, and then letting everybody know about it. I find that if you tell people what you need and what you want, and they trust you, and you're authentic, and you're vulnerable, they're going to help you. Develop conversational currency. That's just, knowing current events, being able to have a conversation about something. You don't have to get controversial, but you have to be able to have conversations with folks. Also, have an interest. Many of you who I've met for the first time, and I'll pick on people who are maybe from the UK. John has got this beautiful British accent, and I immediately, as soon as I met him, I said, "Hey, you're from the UK. You must love soccer." And whether he did or not, that's one of my passions, and that comes out when you meet me, because I'm passionate about soccer and football, and it's just something that drives me. And I look forward to my weekends because I get to watch football from 4:30 in the morning till about 7 o'clock at night on Saturday and Sunday. So whatever you're passionate about, let people know what those passions are, because you'll connect on some level with somebody about their passion. Learn to listen. And this is the most important part of networking. It's not about you. It's about what other people are saying and how you're listening to them. Be present for them. Be interested in what they're saying. Ask follow-up questions. We'll talk about this a little bit more, but I guess it's the next one. Let's just move on here. Master nonverbal cues, and this is what I was going to get at. Eye contact is so important when you're talking with somebody. I love the statistics. When your eye contact drops below 70% in a conversation, you come across as rude and disinterested. So remember that when you're having a conversation in a group, pay attention, have good eye contact. Don't look at your phone. Don't pay attention to what's going on the other side of the room, or try to listen to somebody else's conversation. Be present for people. Master those nonverbal cues. This is a great one. Get to know the gatekeeper. And this is really important when you're doing capital fundraising too. Get to know who that assistant is. Get to know who that associate is. You may not get to the decision maker right off, but the person that controls their calendar, their time, their emails, those people need to be your best friends. Those are the people you need to know very well. Have them know you. Hey, this is Len calling. Nice to chat with you again. How are you? What's going on in your life? Have a quick conversation. They'll remember that. And the next time you call, they'll put you through to the person you're trying to get to if they're around. And then this last piece, create a personal advisory board. Get a chorus of people around you that help you create your brand, help you with your goals, people that you can give back to. This is your personal choir. There's a Star Trek episode for you Trekkies about a diplomat, and the diplomat was deaf and dumb, couldn't speak and couldn't hear, but had a choir of people that could do all of that around him, and they were able to use telepathy to communicate with each other. That's the kind of advisory board you need, someone that you have that telepathy with, someone who understands you, that can help you with your goals. So that's a lot of information. Any questions or comments on any of that?
And I put in the chat a book that Ellie Eisenberg recommends from Provisors. The book is called The Go-Giver. It's a great story about giving and how it comes back in the end.
Excellent. Thank you for adding that in. I appreciate that. Whoever put the Ted Lasso comment in there, it is the most brilliant piece of material out there on TV right now. If you haven't heard of it, just look up Ted Lasso, and it's if you're into football, it's great.
Yeah,
all right,
you're welcome, Len. and be sure to check out they did behind the scenes stuff even before they shot the series.
I've seen everything that's been produced on it. It's great. So Conference Commando. This is another Keith FERRAZZI book. This is great information. So as you prepare to go to a conference, and this will be an online conference, by the way, a lot of these tips transcend just meeting in person, but it's really meant for in person. And there may be more than 15, so don't count. So the 7 Ps, proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance. Before you go anywhere, know what your goals are for a conference. Know the people you want to meet. Know what you want to get out of it. So you have some goals going in so you can prepare for it. If you can get a list of who's going to be at the conference prior, and there's a lot of online tools today that allow us to do this, where you can see who's registered. You can, look that person up. You can reach out to that person. Some conferences have instituted some software that allows you to reach out to participants prior to the conference. Set up a meeting at the conference. You can do that online too. While I'm sitting here blabbing at you, you can go and see everybody's name here and look them up and see, hey, that person's into indie films. I really want to get to know that person more because I'm into indie films. Or that person, there's so many people on this call right now that speak several languages, and that maybe there's a common language that's not English that you want to connect on, or whatever it is. Find the connection, but do that ahead of time. Prepare as much as possible. Get to know your conference, your targets, and we just talked a little bit about that. Just knowing who's going to be there. Gather intelligence. Again, you can Google people. You can go to LinkedIn. You can go to Facebook. You can go to Twitter. Most people have some type of online profile. And so we have online profiles, not because social norms dictate that we do. It's because we want people to know who we are. It's part of our brand. It's part of our marketing of ourselves. So make sure the stuff you have online about you is accurate, is pertinent, is something that can connect to other people. Strike early. Again, don't wait for the conference to start. Start your networking early. You can start conversations. You can get in, you can find out, what people are into. And then the other thing is, once you meet people, invite them to come have drinks with you, or to have a coffee with you, or to get to know them outside of the conference. So you have a chance to build those relationships. Build your brand. Again, we talked about this. Generosity at a conference, what you can offer to other people when you meet them is really important. Again, I'll talk about being vulnerable, being accountable, and having candor. People appreciate that. They don't want to meet people that are beating around the bush or just kind of superficial. So those are just things about your personal brand that you want to consider as you meet people. I like this one. Slate the speakers. Don't worry about trying to get in front of the speaker to introduce yourself. There's a lot of people that attend these conferences that are great people. So you shouldn't worry about who I am. You should worry about the other 11 or 12 people on this call right now and find out who they are and network with them, because they may have resources that you don't know about.
Yep.
And that is so you can get to the speakers at other times. You can get them beforehand. If you know that they're speaking, you might want to send them a note. Hey, could we meet for 5 minutes? Not every speaker is going to do that. You might as well try, because again, if you're audacious, people are going to respond to that, because a lot of people are too timid to reach out with that. Don't be afraid. What's the worst thing anybody can say to you? No. Is that terrible? Not terrible. If the group that's on this call right now can't accept a no, you're in the wrong business. I'll just tell you that flat out. No's are just part of our common, experience in working with startups and trying to raise capital.
Len, I often say to people, if you don't ask, you don't get. If you do ask, once in a while, you actually get.
That's right. Yeah, you gotta share. Get a wingman, especially when you're going to a conference. It's really terrible to go to one of these things by yourself. So if you have a wingman, or if Philippe, you bring Anne-Marie with you, you guys can A, divide and conquer, or B, keep an eye out for one another. Hey, you really need to meet this person. Or let me introduce you to somebody I just met. Those are, I mean, that works in a bar as much as it works in a conference. So bring a wingman with you. Don't try and do it alone. Too many times I think people try to do things by themselves and they don't involve other people. So bring your wingman with you. Draft off a big kahuna. Now, what does that mean? Well, at any conference or event that you go to, there's always a ringleader, whether that's the conference director or a speaker. Draft off that person. You know, if you can go and learn what I think someone was talking about it, the film festivals. If you know the festival director and know what their needs and desires are, you can help them, and then you can draft off that and they will help you. And that's no difference with conference organizers, whether it's a venture capital conference, if it's the Milken conference or the Montgomery conference here in town, or the Cornerstone on Demand conference, all these big conferences. Get to know the people that are in charge, that are section leaders, and draft off them.
I have a related thought to that, Len.
Go for it, Tony. Hey, Tony, before you start, introduce yourself, name, company, and something we don't know about you that's not on your LinkedIn.
Let's see. I'm Tony Winders. I'm the principal consultant and founder of the Winders Group. We're a marketing services firm. We have what we think is a fairly unique model of a traditional agency combined with a collective. So we're performing on-demand marketing services for mostly tech companies and employing lots of independent marketing professionals and helping our clients grow. So thanks for the opportunity to introduce that. And something that's probably not on my LinkedIn profile that I'm excited about is my side hustle. My wife and I have a food business called Pepper Bandits, and actually Stubbs Alderton is our law firm, and we're making Fuegorita, a hotter, better crushed red pepper. We're going to disrupt crushed red pepper because we think it tastes awful and it's not hot enough. So we invented Fuegorita to solve that problem.
Awesome. All right. Now, what did you have to offer?
Oh, so my thought on this slide is that at any party, I always make a point of meeting the host of the party and the oldest person in the room for obvious reasons, right? The host is connected as you've indicated to everyone else in the room, and the oldest person probably has something that I could learn from them. Maybe they have a little more wisdom than I do. So that's just kind of a philosophy I have for any event.
What a great technique. I love that, Tony. That's super. Thank you for sharing it. We'll move on to the next slide. Find a way to help everyone. This is kind of a fun little trick. Get to know the conference schedule. Get to know the layout of the land. Know where the rooms are. Someone's going to come up to you, or you're going to see someone that's lost, and you say, "Hey, how can I help you?" And they're going to say, "Hey, where's the keynote speaker at 2 o'clock?" And if you know the schedule, you can help that person. So be that resource. Get to know the conference, get to know what's going on, and become an expert in it. And then people will start coming to you. You want people to come to you and say, "Hey, where's that big party that's happening? How can I get in?" And if you have the answer to that, people are going to be forever grateful. So don't forget to be involved with the conference, even though you're not involved with the conference. You can take that upon yourself. Work hard on a break. Don't take your breaks to look at your emails and answer your texts. That's the time you want to go out and meet people and be with people and listen to people and offer yourself to people. You can do the email and the text while someone's speaking. They won't know that, and that's probably a lot easier for you. And it's a better use of time. You can listen and answer emails at the same time. So use those breaks not as a break, but as an opportunity to go out and network with folks. I love this one. Hijack a dinner. So how many times you've been to a conference and you have a sit-down meal and you get seated with a bunch of people that you don't know and maybe you didn't want to know. But what would happen if you went to the conference director and said, "Hey, I have 6 people I want to sit with at the meal. Can I have a table reserved and invite the people to that table?" Most conference directors, if they know what they're doing, are going to say yes, because they should never say no. And then you can convene a group of people that you've curated. How powerful is that? Use that as an opportunity to get to know people. If that's not possible, you can always say, hey, let's go have dinner, and invite the right people to dinner, and do it that way, where you can curate a group of people that meet the needs of what you're trying to accomplish at that particular event. Let your guard down, find a way to care. Again, this goes back to being vulnerable, being authentic, and being generous, and how you can make lasting relationships. I'm not going to read all the stuff on the slide, by the way. I'll send this all to you. That way you have it. Master the deep bump. This is back from the 80s, I think. This is, if you're at a conference and, it's a big, I find big conferences much more intimidating and hard to network because there's too many people. So I like smaller groups, but if you're in a conference, you can meet people, but bless and release them and go meet some other folks and follow up with those folks that you met with. All right. You don't have to spend a half hour with everybody. There's not enough time. You spend a couple minutes, you break the ice, you get to know them, you share some passion, you say, thanks, hey, would you like to get together for coffee later on so we can do a deeper dive, and then go on and meet other people. Say, I'd like you to go out and meet other people like I'd like to meet other people at the conference.
Speed dating.
What's that?
Speed dating.
Speed dating, yes. But you got to do it authentically, right? You can't just, meet people and then move on. You have to listen. You have to create that sense of empathy between the two of you. Take names and make commitments. So this is part of that last slide. Hold yourself accountable to people. So, and have them be accountable to you. So if you're going to make a commitment, hey, let's get together for coffee, or I'll send you an email, or I'm going to send you an article. And I've committed to doing that. So Tony reached out to me earlier today and said, hey, I have an idea. I want to get together with you, and we're going to do that. So make sure you're accountable to each other, and find people to be accountable to. That helps build those relationships and makes them deeper. And by the way, this is true of VCs or angel investors. All of this stuff is kind of a universal theme, but you can apply it to specific groups of folks. And then follow up or fail. If you don't follow up, you're going to build your brand as a way of people knowing that if I reach out, I'm not going to get followed up with. And that's not good branding for folks. So make sure if you commit to doing something, you're going to do it or you're going to fail. Any questions? None.
So Len, I actually had a recent experience. We were trying to put together an expert panel for AFM, the American film market, that's going on virtually this year. And we reached out. We actually got connected to the festival, or rather the market CEO of the organization of AFM, and he put us in touch with the person, I guess, that was in charge of setting up the panels, or knew what availability was still open. And much to our chagrin, he didn't have much space for us, and he said it would be paid, and that it would need to have some kind of nonprofit angle. Which one of the invitees that we had on our panel was a nonprofit. But I guess it's been a tough year, and all they wanted to do was, I guess, hopefully focus on maybe adding some extra money to their coffers. But I was wondering if you had any ideas, or if the collective group over here had any ideas as a roundabout alternate situation, that we could explore.
Yeah. Go ahead, Sean.
Actually, I do. I mean, we've been linked up with a lot of festivals and their programmers and founders across the globe, and it's pretty easy to, as long as you can set up your own Zoom rooms and everything like that, it's pretty easy to get speakers and to get involvement. There's a lot of festivals going on, and some of my colleagues or affiliates are even involved with those festivals, doing panels with the festivals. So because your platform is heavily involved with that, with the industry and the festivals themselves, you should definitely ask those individual festivals to set up a panel there instead of going for AFM, because AFM is another beast. It's
Right.
It's not great to be a part of because it's in the Hollywood system. And it's like, if you're not like in the studios or networks, don't even worry about that because that's not your niche market.
Yeah, we decided. Thank you. That's really wonderful. Yeah, we decided to forego it and connect back to the festivals, which we decided to launch an Instagram Live kind of component where we can bring a lot of these experts from these different festivals in. So yeah, that's wonderful. Interested. We'll definitely love to connect for sure.
Yeah, touch base. My email's in the chat.
Awesome. Perfect.
So Philippe, let me ask you a question. When you went to the person that's putting panels together, what question did you ask them?
I said, let me see. I said that I had an expert group that I've curated, and that a bunch of us are in the tech space as tech founders, and we had brought heads of organizations, trade organizations for the film festival industry, and that I mentioned that I had noticed that their program really lacked the connection to the festivals, and thought, why not offer that kind of tech insider look into what's coming around the corner for. But then I ended up asking some mutual producers and friends who said that not many film festivals go to that conference. So I'd be probably better suited going to a different.
So let me put this to the crowd. After listening to what his question was to the person in charge, and listening to what was presented to us today, what might have been a different way to approach that person?
This is how we can help your programming by offering a different perspective.
Then you're on the right track, but did you ask a question of what they needed? Did you ask, hey, is there something missing in the festival that maybe I can help provide?
No, you're right. Yeah.
Right? Let them create the need for you.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you go in and say, I noticed that you're lacking, you've automatically put that person on the defensive.
Right.
And you haven't offered anything to them.
Mm-hmm.
So if you went in and said, hey, out of everything you're doing, what is the one thing you wish you could have done? Or what is something that you think is missing? And is there something I can help you with?
Okay.
It might be a different, and I don't, AFM is, they have their set ways. They've been doing it forever the same way. I mean, in the COVID environment, they don't know what the hell they're doing because none of us do. And, so they're kind of struggling with that. So that might be a different, I'll get to you in a second, Sean.
Okay.
That's a way to, open that door in a way that's friendly and non-threatening. And instead of trying to push yourself onto them with something, find that need that you can. And if they say, yeah, I was thinking, we're missing this, then you kind of weave in, well, I have this solution with this work.
Right.
And then you have them engaged with you.
That's great advice. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, the last thing, just to follow up, lastly, is that AFM is focused a lot on with distribution and then location, because a lot of locations around the world, they promote themselves for their incentives. So linking that to your company and promoting that would be probably the only, I would say the only like in route for AFM to be interested.
Mm-hmm.
So let's take this example and apply it to venture capital or angel capital. And so I have a company, it's a startup, I get some traction, I'm trying to raise a couple $100,000, and I have a couple of angel investors that I'm looking at. What's the best way for me to go to them? And presuming I have some type of relationship, what would be a good opening statement or question to go to them with if I was looking for capital?
What kind of deals are you looking for?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, ask them, hey, what's in your portfolio now? What's missing? Is there an industry missing? Is there a segment you're looking to invest in that you haven't? And find out, listen to what they're saying. And it may not apply to you. But you know what? In our Preccelerator community, if Jason goes out and asks some, investor that question, and they're not interested in platforms for convenience stores and disrupting that industry, but they have a deep interest in, orthopedic health, then, when we have our accountability meeting, Jason can say, hey, John, I just met somebody that is really into orthopedic health. That might be a great intro. And then you can help that investor meet John. Now, what does that do? All of a sudden, you become someone that's helpful. You're the helpful Honda person. There's a reason why those commercials work, because we want to affiliate with people who are helpful, that give, not take. So always listen. Just because it's not the right mix for you doesn't mean it can't lead to something down the line.
And if you just did that favor, you're really going to get feedback from that VC. Hey, you know what? I don't do that, but my buddy Joe up the street does that kind of work.
That's right. It's not always about the ask. It's about how can I help you? What are your needs? And listen. All right. Any other comments, questions, war stories? Well, we're just upon an hour. I appreciate all of your attention today. I know a lot of you, many of you I haven't met, and some of you are applying or have applied. Sean, what was the name of your company that didn't get into the Preccelerator?
IndieScene.
IndieScene.
Yeah, I can send you a new deck. Right now we're working with Oracle on a platform.
I'll look it up. I'll give you a second look at. How about that?
Okay.
All right. Excellent. Any other questions from anybody? John, thank you for attending from the UK. I presume you're still out there?
Yes, I'm still out here. It's my pleasure.
Yep. Bonnie, are you there? Bonnie Greenberg? Hi, Bonnie. You didn't get to introduce yourself, and before we leave, I want the benefit of that. So if you could unmute yourself, you're muted, and introduce yourself.
I ran late, so I was very late.
That's okay. I just didn't want to discount you. So if you could introduce yourself, your name, the company you're with, and something we don't know about you looking at your LinkedIn.
Okay, I don't have my LinkedIn, so that would be really easy. My name's Bonnie Greenberg. My company is Great Housemates, which luckily we had not raised our money because if we had and started going, because we would have been wiped out with COVID, because it's a business for matching roommates 50 and above, people who have homes with extra space in it and people who are looking for spaces. And it's like an alternative kind of housing, but for the 50 and older market to help enhance community. So it's not just for financial reasons. Some people, it might be financial reasons, other people might just be about community. Yep. Luckily, we did not launch when we were supposed to because we would have lost everything, because clearly during COVID is not a time people are moving in with strangers. But I'm now sort of starting over and revamping the whole thing because I think after COVID, there'll be huge opportunities for this business because people have learned the value truly of community and companionship and will also have financial issues. So both key factors that are part of our business will be unfortunately in full regalia after COVID is safe. In terms of what you don't know about me from LinkedIn, my LinkedIn thing is not really very accurate. So I don't know. I've had multiple careers. I've been, that's from LinkedIn. I worked in music and put music in movies for many years. I have a movie coming out in 2 weeks. My LinkedIn thing is probably more about being an entrepreneur and a psychotherapist, which is part of the whole business because we're dealing with the mental health issues around community.
Well, welcome. Thank you for attending this afternoon.
I wasn't able to be here from the beginning, but I had a conference call that ran an hour late.
So this will be up on our YouTube site for Preccelerator U, where all of our content is posted. So if you have you want to go back and see who is here or see the slides, you can do that. I'll also, since this is a small group, I'll send out my slide deck to everybody so you have it. And that's it. Thank you all for attending today. I appreciate you all. And Tony, I'll follow up with you. We'll get together. With that, have a good afternoon.
Thanks, Len.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.